Hey Tubesters, it's Rn4 Song, the Mormon Mystic, coming to you from the mysterious outdoors. And today I hopefully will be able to record the 10 Whytchy Questions Tag. I know this is an older one, but I think it's really fun, and it might give you some, give you an idea of what I practice and what I believe in and where my head stands when it comes to magical practice. So, as always, when it comes to these question videos, I'll write all the questions in the description box. So that way, if you want to, you can do the tags or do the question, answer the questions. So the first one is, what is your practice? Oh, what in your practice do you do but may feel silly or embarrassed about? Nothing. There's nothing currently in my practice that I'm embarrassed or feel silly about. However, I am encroaching upon wanting to engage in pop pantheon work, whether it be pop culture magic or pop culture paganism. I'm not entirely sure. No, thank you. Yeah, that is someone that I go to church with. Okay. Okay. Well, that was really nice. They just offered to give me a ride. I don't know where they're going or why they thought I needed one, but that was really nice. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. So that is something I'm a little, not totally silly about, but, like, I'm trying to figure out if it works for me. Because I really want to use Cassie Nightingale in some type of pop culture working, whether it be magic or paganism, I'm not sure. But the thing is, I don't believe human beings, to be deity. It's not so much that I think that they can't become a god or goddess or become a deity per se, which I do view the god and goddess and deity as separate, but it's more like I don't believe that we will be aware of what their divine essence is, let alone what their name will be, because I do believe that their name will change when they become a divine entity. So yeah, that's kind of what it's difficult for me. I think it might be more of a maybe pop culture magic than a pop culture paganism where I'm like worshiping them, or it might be maybe a pop culture paganism where it comes to like ascended master, or an archetype that I work with. So that's kind of, I guess, the only thing that I'm silly about, but I'm not really silly about. So number 2, do you feel you are a witch if you don't cast spells, cast ritual circles, and so on? I don't know. I mean, it's kind of tricky because, you know, it's like, what's paganism, what's witchcraft, you know? And, you know, what's spiritual and what's magic when it comes to witchcraft. So it's like, it's really hard for me to decide, since I am a pagan and a witch. It kind of all mixes together. I wish I brought, you know, the principles of witchcraft that I follow, because I follow 21 principles of witchcraft, and one of them talks about that, you know, it's kind of, I follow roughly the 13 principles of witchcraft, as well as roughly the 6 degrees of chaos magic, but I also tweaked them and made like 1 or 2 of my own. So it's kind of like they're my own principles of witchcraft, and one of them talks about how there is like getting degrees and stuff like that doesn't make you a witch, and how being hereditary doesn't really make you a witch either, but you can call yourself a witch. And I don't remember all the words, but I don't know. I mean, I don't always cast circles, and I don't always cast spells, yet I don't think that stops me from being a witch. However, maybe this question is referring to like never ever casting spells and like circles. So I think maybe in that sense that might mean you're not a witch, because being a witch does have a magical practice, which would involve some type of spell work. But I think it's such a loaded question, it's really hard to give a concrete answer. So hopefully the way I answered it made sense. Number 3, can you be a witch in feeling, in thought, and in education, and not do spell work? I'm gonna say yes, because Well, I don't know. Again, that can be really tricky because there's these other terms like magician and sorcerer, and I don't know, I kind of think that I think you can be a magical person if you feel magical and think magical and have education that's based on magic. But as for a witch, I kind of feel like being a witch, it's like an integrated way of living. And so I think if you're not doing anything magical, then you're not being a witch. But that doesn't mean that you're not being a magical person. I think that you might just be like a sorcerer or a magician. Yeah, so maybe that like answers some of number 2 as well. I don't know. Number 4, what is something you have done in your practice that you feel ashamed about or bad about, and why? I'm a big believer in not being ashamed or feeling bad about anything, honestly, because I think it all gives you learning experiences. Are there things that I would change or do differently? Yes and no. No, because I like how it ended up, but yes, because I'm curious, and I'd like to see what changes would result if I did do them differently. However, if I'd also like the opportunity to reverse any changes that I do in case I don't like the end result, and then I can go back to where I am now. So, and the only thing that I think I would change was the time that I cast these contradicting spells. One was to kind of like erase my memory and experience with being a witch, and the other one was to kind of like bind or strip my powers or my gift and ability to cast magic. And they kind of contradict each other, and I'll do a more in-depth video about it, but I don't want to waste too much time because I don't know how much time I have to record this. Number 5, have you ever felt disingenuous about your practice? The only time I did was when I was insecure and depressed. Now that I'm not like that, and also comparing myself to others, especially more like witches that have been practicing longer than me, or any witch that practiced longer or shorter than me, but came up with things that I was kind of like, oh, that's really cool, why didn't I think of that? Which all stems from being insecure, and which stemmed for me from being depressed. So now that I'm not like that anymore, no, I don't feel disingenuous. 6, where does metaphysics and your craft cross and separate? I'm gonna have to go with what the Lady Grave Dancer said and what the Cauldron Witch 13 said. I think that they're too heavily intertwined, honestly. And I think that can be supported by the universal law of oneness, which talks about everything being one and interconnected. And however, there is also the universal law of polarity. And so I think while nothing really like either crosses or separates, I think some things may come more to the forefront. So like some more metaphysical things might come to the forefront, especially, or some more psychological things might come to the forefront. But I don't think anything really separates. And so I guess it's kind of inevitable that it's going to cross, so I wouldn't really refer to it as crossing and separating, because it's kind of, I don't know, because of the universal law of oneness, it all crosses. 7, do you feel deity has to be a real entity, or can it be symbolic? I guess that would tap into the pop pantheon working that I was talking about earlier. I'm not really sure. I guess I do believe in archetypes, and I think archetypes, I guess, when they're boiled down, would be symbolic. So I guess I could loosely and roughly say that they can be symbolic and they don't have to be real. I think this also touches upon about did man create God, or did God create man? So again, it's kind of like that other question, like 2, and I'm unsure, but I think I'm going to end with they can be symbolic, but I'm not really sure, so don't hold me on it. Anything is susceptible to change. One of the things I believe in is I believe belief as a tool, not a means as an end in itself, and I know that's a chaotic chaos magic principle. Number 8, do you truly believe that you can be an atheist, Christian, Muslim, or some other faith and be a witch too? Of course, because I'm a Mormon mystic. So Mormonism is a sect of Christianity. So basically, in a massive umbrella term, I am a Christian witch. And, I know I can defend Christian witchcraft practice because what I've learned about is witch in the Bible stems from the... Hello, Robin. I'm going to have to look up Robin's symbolism. Off the top of my head, that would be... Oh gosh, you're really trying to get my attention. New beginnings are coming my way. Yay! And joy. Anyway, what was I saying? So, witch stems from the word pharmakist, which is Greek meaning poisoner. And I'm not a poisoner. I don't poison people spiritually, emotionally, mentally, or physically. So, since I'm not doing that, I don't practice the craft that's talked about in the Bible. So, I know that I can be a witch and a Christian, and I'm not breaking any doctrine in that sense. Will others agree? No, but I don't really care. I love you, but I don't care. So, you can totally be. I'm a big firm believer that witchcraft is a culture and a lifestyle. I know that it was called the old religion, but I think when we have to also delve deep into what religion meant back then and what religion means now. Religion now means dogma. Witchcraft doesn't have dogma, so religion didn't mean the same thing back then. So, while yes, it was the old religion, in modern culture, it isn't a religion. So, you can be vegan and a witch, because veganism is a lifestyle, it's a culture. Don't get me wrong, there are some beliefs to it, but that doesn't necessarily make it a religion because there's no dogma to it. Anyway, I think I spent enough time with that question. Number 9, do you ever feel insecure or unsure or even scared of the spell work? No. Oh, well, actually, it's not true. Sometimes when I was in a coven, I was a little unsure about the spell work because I didn't resonate with the spell work, so I was unsure about it. But yeah, for the most part, no. Yeah, no. Number 10, do you ever put yourself to a standard in your craft that you feel you may never obtain? No, honestly. I don't really do that. I do try to hold myself to the standards of my principles and to the 16 goals of a witch and to any other tenets that I follow. Of course, I'm recently learning about what I call the commandments of the Christ. I refer to Christ because Christ is a title, so I'm referring to it as like Christ consciousness and as a title that you earn. And so I'm learning about the commandments that he preached about. I believe those are the true commandments because as a Mormon, you follow Christ. And even as a Christian, you follow Christ. And so I'm going to follow the commandments that the Christ taught, which include the 10 commandments. When I get it all narrowed down, I'm going to do a video on it. But I don't feel that there are any standards that I hold myself to that I'm not able to reach. I may not be currently reaching them, and I may fall short sometimes, but I just, will pray about it, and then I will meditate about it, and to me, those are two different things. Praying is like, praying would be like the giving or the talking, and then meditating would be like the receiving or the listening in my practice. And so I would do that to try and get some wisdom and insight. Okay, how can I better succeed in obtaining these standards that I hold up for myself? And with some things like, which are both my personal beliefs and ended up also intertwining with Mormonism, is like no coffee, no tea, and other things. I pray about it and try and get understanding. So like when it came to coffee and tea, those are diuretics. They're heavy diuretics and also high in caffeine, which are both really bad for you. And I realized that my body is a microcosm to the macrocosm of the earth. What would happen if the earth was given a diuretic? The earth is 75 to 80% water, and a lot of life is within the water, bacteria and otherwise. So that would be a lot of life that would cease to exist, which would distort the food chain and would distort all life as we know it. And so that's why I was okay and being firm and believing in drinking no coffee and drinking no tea unless it's a tisane, which is an herbal tea. So yeah, that's the 10 witchy question tag. If you feel inspired to, feel free to make the video. I know in my last question tag I forgot to tag you guys, so feel free to do that one as well. I'll link that one below. And yeah, if you do, then link your video below so I can watch it and comment and like it and show you some love and support. So as always, thank you for watching. If you really liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, give it a thumbs down. I like to know either way. If you gave it a thumbs down, I just ask that you comment why, so that way I can get some feedback on how to better myself and better these videos. I totally got distracted. So if you want to, you can subscribe to my channel. Just make sure you bang the bell, because I'll give you notifications of the most, of my recent and my upcoming videos. If you're not interested in subscribing to the whole channel, that's totally fine. What you can do is you can just subscribe to my playlist. So I suggest that you check out my playlist, and if there's anything in there that interests you, you can subscribe to those by clicking that plus sign. I think it's a plus sign with some bars, and if you click on that, then it will notify you when I upload that, because every time I upload a video, if it's something that I want to put in a playlist, I upload it at the same time. So yeah, check those out. If you have any questions, feel free to comment. If you just want to say hi in the comments. If you want to be more anonymous or discreet, my email is in the description box, so you can email me there. I also, if you want to, you can stalk me on the gram and on the book, so the links will be there as well. And yeah, I hope you choose to become a sapling. Thank you so much for watching. I love you so much. Abundant and eternal blessings.